Good evening, everyone. I guess we'll wait for a few more minutes for others to join the session and then we'll start. A very good evening to one and all. On this occasion of Vasant Panchami, I, Pari, give you all a warm welcome to this remarkable and insightful session on the budget 2022-23. So, this event has been organized by Entrepreneurship Center, Calgotia's University, in order that students and interested ones get an insight into this year's budget. The budget, or rather, the union budget of a year, also referred to as annual financial statement, is a statement of the estimated receipts and expenditure of the government for that particular year. As per Article 112 of the Indian Constitution, presenting a budget is a compulsory task of the government. This year, the Union Budget of the year 2022 was presented by Minister of Finance, Srimati NIRMALA SITHARAMAN, on February 1st, 2022. As important as it sounds, it also poses an enigma to understand. But no need to fret over it much as. Today we shall answer all those questions that one can think of, whether it will be positive or negative, how visionary and beneficial it is. And the most important question of all, how will it help upcoming entrepreneurs? So moving on, I'm honored to introduce Mr. Gaurav Bahmania, Manager Finance and Accounts at Oil India Limited. He is an experienced manager finance account with a demonstrated history of working in the oil and energy industry. Skilled in corporate finance, accounting, internal controls, auditing, and financial accounting. A strong finance professional with a chartered accountancy focus in business and commerce. He'll be telling us about the union budget and its importance, followed by a few highlights of budget 2022-23. So now, without any further ado, we shall start with the session. But before going to the session, if you all have any question, you may put them in the chat box, which will be open for all of you. So, sir, you may begin with today's session.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Paridhi. I hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
So you are audible.
Thanks. So, to as introduced by Miss Paridhi, we will be having a session on this budget, which has recently been announced by our respected finance minister. So we'll be going through the presentation, and I will brief on the highlights of the budget. And wherever you are having any queries, you can easily ask either via chat mode, or you can unmute yourself and you can raise the query. And as introduced by Paridhi, I introduce myself. I am Mr. Gaurav Bahmania, a chartered accountant by profession, working in Oil India Limited since last 5 years. So I'll be sharing my presentation. In case of anybody found any difficulty with the presentation or anything, they can easily come up.
Yes, sir.
I think my presentation is on presentation view mode, and hope everyone can able to see that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute, I am resharing the presentation. So as told by Mr. Pranidhi, this union budget is prepared by the central government for the country as a whole and presented into two parts. The budget is presented into two parts. Number one is railway budget, and the other portion is the main budget. While the railway budget shows the details of estimated receipts and proposed expenditure, along with the disbursement by the railway, only the railway portion, and the rest of the budget portion tells about the other main sectors of the country. The main budget shows financial planning for the entire economy, describing in details the estimated receipts and proposed expenditure for the upcoming financial year, starting from 1st April 2022. So what is the Union Budget of India? According to Article 112 of the Indian Constitution, the Union Budget of a year, also referred to as the annual financial statement, is a statement of the estimated receipts which the central government is going to have and the expenditure which the government is going to make during the financial year in various sectors. It is either it is a health sector. At the inception of the financial year, the budget is allocated to various sectors, which we will be discussing in the upcoming slides. So this budget is just in statements, receipts and a payment statement of the expenditure and the receipts made by the central government for that particular year. What are the key features of budget 2022 and 23? So various sectors have been provided some relief, but overall, as I would say that this budget has come up neutral for every sector and not much of any focusing area. So, but anyways, there are certain key features which has come up from this budget. Welfare, focus on growth and all-inclusive welfare, which we'll be discussing shortly. Then something about the technology, promoting technology-enabled development, energy transition, and climate action. Then coming to the investments, that virtuous cycle starting from private investment crowded in by public capital investment. These are the four priorities which the government has emphasized. Number one is PM Gati Shakti. So what is PM Gati Shakti? We will be going through the upcoming slides. What is PM Gati Shakti and what are the 7 things included in this PM Gati Shakti? Then coming to the inclusive development, financing of investments, productivity enhancements, investment sunrise, opportunities, energy transition, and climate action. So we'll be going through all these 4 points one by one. PM Gati Shakti, basically it's a logistics part. So this PM Gati Shakti is basically a logistics part driven by 7 engines, mainly the road, railways, airports, ports, mass transport, waterways, and logistics infrastructure. So this year logistics have been given a special focus, and not only this year, in the past year also certain focus things has been done in this sector, and many measures in terms of hard and soft infrastructures have been taken to improve the logistics scenarios of India. So a national master plan aimed at world-class modern infrastructure and logistics synergy has been prepared with this budget, and it has been conveyed by finance minister that around 25,000 kilometers of national highways shall be completed in the year 2022-23. Some unified logistics interface platform allowing data exchange among all mode operators. Basically, some platform shall be arranged, online platform shall be made so as to ease the logistics between the one user to the other user across the country. Additionally, for stakeholders to receive logistics related services, visibility, authorizations, and certifications of the cargo seamlessly, all IT systems need to be developed, which shall be covered in the year 2022-23. Open source mobility stack for seamless travel of passengers, 4 multimodal logistics parks through PP, private, public, basically through private public fund to be awarded in 2022-23. Coming to the next portion, integration of postal and railway network facilitating parcel movement, one station, one product, extending coverage under Kavach, new generation Vande Bharat trains. So these things will be coming up for the year 2022-23. Multimodal connectivity between mass urban transport and railway stations. National Ropeways Development Plan as sustainable alternative to conventional roads, capacity building for infrastructure projects. So these basically few things will be having under the PM Gati Shakti. One of the main core area logistical things which we need to be improved to be at par with the other countries, basically the developed countries. And for being a developing country, we have to basically strengthen our logistical things so that we can have our infrastructure to have a reach to every corner of the country within the minimum possible time and the best possible way. Coming to the next sector, basically agriculture and food processing. So government has emphasized on the farmers' produce, promoting some chemical-free natural farming, starting with farmers' lands close to River Ganga, then promoting post-harvest value addition, consumption and branding of millet products, delivery of digital and high-tech services to farmers in PPP mode, use of Kisan drones to aid farmers, basically to have a check on the farming activities and all. Launching fund with blended capital. Blended capital is a mix of private and public capital to finance agriculture startups. Implementation of Cane Betua link project benefiting 9.1 lakh hectare farmland, provided drinking water to 62 lakh people and generating 130 megawatt power. And 5 more such projects under the process of implementation. This particular sector faces key challenges like for being a farmer, market deal, access to markets, lack of standardization, supply chain gaps. So these few things have been come out in the budget so as to address these challenges and promote the growth in the farming sector. Earlier also some policies has been come up, but not comprehensively they have been introduced. To further, our FM has announced in the budget that to help the farmers select suitable varieties of fruits and vegetables and to use appropriate production and harvesting system. This chart basically showing the enhanced procurement to support higher distribution during pandemic and record food grain productions in 2020-21. agriculture sector, growth in agriculture sector is not that promising in last few years, but government is coming up with various alternatives, with various schemes to have certain check in place so as to boost the growth in agri sector. Then comes what a youth is want from this budget, as you might be thinking that how it is important for you, how the budget is important for you, rather than having only the allocation to the different sectors, what this budget has come up, what this budget has bring for you. So coming up on the educational front, government has come up one initiative, one class one TV channel program, which to be extended to 200 TV channels, which currently is only 12. Currently only 12 TV channels are there, but government has introduced to expand that 12 channels to 200. Virtual labs, skilling e-labs to promote critical thinking skills and stimulated learning environment. A digital university will be established with world-class quality universal education. High quality e-content will be delivered through digital teachers. Due to the pandemic, like as we are currently also suffering from this COVID pandemic, which has induced closure of schools, colleges, and because of that, children, particularly in the rural areas and those who are from weaker sections, have lost almost 2 or more than 2 years of their education just to as to rebuild that particular uh, area and to recover very quickly. These mechanisms has been introduced. This will enable all the states to provide supplementary education in regional languages from class 1 to 12. This one class 1 TV channel program is basically for class student from 1st to 12th. Coming to the skill development thing, digital ecosystems for skilling and livelihood. This tech e-portal will be launched to promote online training. Now, one can access this portal and have some skill-based trainings. Startups will be promoted to facilitate drone Shakti for drone as a service. Currently, the drone is used by the government activities only. Now we can utilize this drone facility for other purposes also, mainly for saying such as agriculture, construction, search and rescue, package delivery, industrial inspection, insurance and videography, and measurement and managing or broadcasting events. So for these purposes also drones can be used, and this budget has introduced this facility and has promoted this drone Shakti. Now next, coming to the health sector. So last 2 to 3 years, starting from the day we have been impacted by COVID, this health sector is one of the core area, which is one of the most top thing in the entire country, or I would say in the entire world. So time to time, government has introduced several facilities in the hospitals across the country, and also introduced certain stimulus plans for the economy also and for the healthcare industry also, so as to combat this COVID-19 thing. Anyways, in this current budget, certain things which have been highlighted in the health sector. Basically, one of the important is that national digital health ecosystem will be rolled out. Some national tele-mental health program will be launched for quality counseling so as to counsel the people. Integrated architecture, Mission Shakti, then coming to Mission Vatsalya, Saksham Anganwadi, and Poshan 2.0 to be launched. So basically, Mission Shakti, I would say this Mission Shakti is to empowerment of women, to help those women who are engaged in self-help groups, to infuse funds in the groups. Coming to the Saksham Angarwadi, these are the one step ahead of the local Angarwadis. You might be aware of certain Angarwadis. This Saksham Angarwadi is one ahead. Then Poshan 2.0 to be launched. 2 lakh Angarwadis to be upgraded to Saksham Angarwadis to provide better facilities at the Angarwadis for the kids who went there, to provide a clean environment. And as you can see from the graph, this is the 2022-23 budgeted expenditure, which is expected, and some around 20,263 crore is allocated to Saksham Angarwadi and Poshan 2.0. 10,234 in PM Poshan, then 1472 in Mission Vatsalya, and 3,184 in Mission Shakti. Coming to other welfare focus areas, the number one is Har Ghar Nal Se Jal. 3.8 crore households to be covered in 2022-23. 80 lakh houses to be completed in 2022-23 under PM Awas Yojana. Then some in PM Devine to fund infrastructure and social development based on felt needs of the Northeast. Aspirational block programs for development of lagging blocks of aspirational districts. Vibrant Villages program, targeting development of villages on the northern border, left out from the development greens. Digital banking by post offices, which are currently under the manual scenario, so as to bring them to the other equivalent banking system, other equivalent public bank or maybe privatized bank. So the post office's banking system shall be digitalized, and 100% of post offices to come on the core banking system. Digital payments, schedule commercial banks to set up 75 digital banking units in 75 districts which have been allocated. So these are various things which have been introduced for a MSME. MSME is a micro, small manufacturing enterprise, basically a small enterprise. Earlier also government has various facilities for MSME. The payment, if an MSME is engaged with any corporate or any corporate entity, so the payment to the MSME has to be processed within 45 days. And if the payment is not processed, the entity has to pay interest on that outstanding dues. So earlier also there are certain benefit available to MSMEs, but there are the certain stimulus packages which was introduced by the country during the pandemic time has been extended up to which was earlier only 22, now that has been extended up to 23. So there are certain other things which has been introduced, interlinking various portals, extending ECLGS, basically Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme, which was introduced in the stimulus package with focus on hospitality and related enterprises, revamping CGTMSE, raising and accelerating MSME performance program will be rolled out. So these 4 programs will be rolled out in the year 2022-23 so as to give more emphasis on the MSME sector and to bring the MSME sector at par to other coming to the productivity enhancement and investment. Trust-based governance. Governance is one of the major area of concern for every corporate. So as to and strengthen the governance, the ease of doing business 2.0 has introduced these things: trust-based governance, integration of central and state level systems through IT bridges, expanding scope of Privesh portal, unique land parcel identification number for IT-based management of land records, establishing CPAs to facilitate voluntary winding up of companies, end-to-end online e-bill system, and utilizing surety bonds in government procurement. AVCG promotion task force, support to 5G under PLI scheme, opening up defense R&D for industry, startups, and academia. So if you can see from this slide, basically, certain things which are currently being found very difficult areas so as to run a business have been made easy if by the introduction of certain things like, I would say, end-to-end online e-bill system, or maybe winding up of the company, then unique land parcel identification number for IT based and management of land records so as to manage the land records. And what has happened in the ease of living is issuance of chip embedded e-passports. So e-passports would be a big change coming next in the identity proof of an individual, of a resident of the country. Modernization of building bylaws, implementing town planning schemes, and transit oriented development, establishing centers of excellence in urban planning, and providing a battery swapping policy as an alternative to setting up charging stations in urban areas. This is basically has been allocated under the production linked incentive schemes in telecom and networking products 528 crore, large scale electronics and IT hardware 5300 crore, pharmaceuticals 1629 crores. Now, which impact an individual, the areas which impact an individual are this financing of investments, and the coming up next is the taxability. How the government will finance their investment. Public investment to continue to pump private investment and demand in 2022-23. Introducing digital rupee by RBI. Everybody might be aware of the introduction of new digital rupee by RBI starting in 2022-23. Enhanced outlay to scheme for financial assistance to states for capital investment. And for 2022-23, states will be allowed a fiscal deficit of 4% of GSDP, of which 0.5% will be tied to power sector reforms. Next, coming to the mobilizing resources, where the resources will be mobilized in the year 22-23, infrastructure status for data centers and energy storage systems, measures to aid investment by venture capital and private equity investment. Blended finance for sunrise sectors, as I already mentioned, that blended finance is a mix of public and private finance, where the public entities and the private entities jointly invest and do the financing for any particular project. Green bonds to mobilize resource for green infrastructure, for green energy, mainly the renewable energy. One of the key areas, developing sector of the country is the renewable energy. And there comes the tax proposals, which affect an individual person as at the most, and then comes to the corporate office and the entire nation as a whole. As such, there is no relief has been provided in this budget for individual, talking about their taxability scenario. The rates, which was earlier, you might be aware that in India, it's a progressive rate system is applicable, that with the higher income, the higher income shall be charged at the higher tax rate. So as the income grows, the rate of tax will also go up. In the current budget, nothing has been changed. Talking about as an individual, no benefit has been given, but there are certain indirect benefits which are available. Coming to first, this is a tax relief to persons with disability. So that any investment in the specified funds have been made for any disabled person, then one is entitled for the tax exemption. Coming to the next, reducing alternate minimum tax rates and surcharge for cooperatives. We are having certain cooperatives, societies, which are formed by individual bodies or body of individual or association of persons. So the alternate minimum tax for those cooperative and the surcharge applicable on them have been reduced. Extending period of incorporation of eligible startups. This is one of the most important benefit which is given to the startups. Earlier, a few years ago, when the startup thing was introduced, tax benefit up to 3 years was there. Like if any startup is having an income less than 25 crore, so they will be entitled to have the tax benefit that they have no need to pay any taxes for their income below 25 crore. But that was only applicable for 3 years. Earlier, only 3 years. Now that 3-year period has been revised and extended to 4 years. Income from transfer of virtual assets to be taxed at 30%. Better litigation management toward repetitive appeals that comes under the IT income tax litigations. Any surcharge or cess on income and profits not allowable as business expenditure. Increasing tax deductions limit on employers' contribution to NPS account of state government and employees. So this is one new deduction is introduced. Earlier it is 10% and now it has increased to 14%. So whenever one employer or any corporate basically contribute any percentage up to 14% from a state government employee in the NPS account, the entire 14% will be tax exempt. There are a few more proposals which have been introduced. Custom administrations to be fully IT driven in SEZs. So special economic zones which are having certain custom benefits, they will be now administered by fully IT driven applications. Phasing out concessional rates in capital goods and project imports gradually and apply a moderate tariff of 7.5%. Review of custom exemptions and tariffs implications. The government shall review the custom exemptions currently being prevailed in the country and arrange for tariff simplification. Customs duty rates are being calibrated to provide a graded rate structure to facilitate domestic electronic manufacturing. Rationalization of exemptions on implements and tools for agri-sector manufactured in India, and then extension of customs duty exemption to steel scrap. Reduction of duty on certain inputs required from shrimp aquaculture. So basically what the custom duty has been introduced only because whatever rate we are paying for any domestic product, and if you procure the same product from outside India, so the custom duty is levied so that the rate for the product purchased outside India is at par with the rate which we are paying in India. So there are certain industries which are still having benefits from from a lower custom duty rate or maybe from a no custom duty. So they have also been year on year, those industries, those particular products are being introduced in the custom so as to strengthen the domestic industry. And then coming to the last point, unblended fuel shall attract additional differential excise duty. One of the most important thing to know about how the rupee flow in India. So this is how the government basically gets the rupee, gets their earnings. 15% from the income tax, also known as the direct tax. Union excise duties, 7%. Duties which are charged on the manufacturing. This non-tax revenue. Basically, this non-tax revenue is all those revenues which the government earns from non-tax sources. Like if they have investment in any corporate, in any company and they are getting interest or they are getting dividend, so that is called non-tax revenue income for the government. Total 5%. And coming to the next, borrowings and other liabilities, the borrowings which government has taken, the total funding to the government comes from 35% of the total funding to the government comes from the borrowing and other liabilities. And this is the way which the country is receiving the money, and parallelly to the other way which the country is spending the money. This is how our money goes out. 4% expenditure in the pension, 15% in central sector schemes, finance commissions and other transfers 10%, state share of taxes and duties. The central government provide the share of state shares of taxes and duties 17%, interest payment 20%, the highest percentage. As we have seen in the previous slide, 35% of the government's rupee availability comes from the borrowings and other liabilities. In the similar line, 20% of the amount goes out as an interest payment. Then coming to the defense sector, 8% subsidies given to the sectors which are under development, 8%, centrally sponsored schemes, 9%. So this is the way our money goes out. Now we will be coming next to the allocation to major scheme. How much fund is allocated in this budget? As can be seen in the National Health Mission, last year 34,000, this year 37,000. Jal Jeevan Mission, last year 45,000, this year 60,000. Then similarly in the National Education Mission, 39,000 as compared to 31,000 in the last year. Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, 19,000, and earlier it was 14,000. PM Kisan, 67,500 earlier, and as the area is focused, 68,000 this coming financial year it has been allocated. Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana, 5,000 earlier, 6,400 crore this year. Because of currently we are suffering from this COVID pandemic, so this is also have impact on this increase. Coming to the ministry-wise allocations, so this is the amount of allocated portion to various ministries. Ministry of Communication, 1,05,000 crore. Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers, 1,07,715 crore. Coming to Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, 1,32,000. Rural Development, 1,38,000. Ministry of Railways, 1,40,000. Ministry of Home Affairs, 1,85,000. Road Transport and Highways, 1,99,000. And the Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, 2,17,000. And again in the similar year, the most amount allocated to the Ministry of Defense, 5,25,166. This is how the amount is allocated during this 22-23 budget. So basically that's it from the presentation side. We had just had a glimpse of what has been there in the budget. So if anybody has any questions, we may discuss.
Yeah, hello, Gaurav sir.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi, Gaurav sir. This is Mrs. Vinny Sharma, one of the faculties of Forensic Sciences at Galgotias. Sir, I have a small question here for you regarding the allocation of, regarding...
Yes, it is 30%.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question is that in case I don't personally mine the bitcoins, but what I do is I purchase the bitcoins from, say, for example, Mr. Gaurav.
Okay.
From you only, you have mined the bitcoins and I have purchased the bitcoins from yours, and you
Mhm.
sold it to me more than the base price. In
Okay.
that case, the profit percentage for yours and profit percentage for mine will change. So can you please highlight something on this?
Basically, starting from the taking as a base, like if you have purchased from me and then you have sold. So basically, the difference of amount is the only gain and loss. Second things come out is the clubbing of income provisions in this case. Like income tax also says the clubbing of income. In case, let's give an example, if you take the any asset, cryptocurrency will become an asset for you if you take the any asset in the name of your family member or any other relative, so as to avoid taxes. But as per the provisions of income tax, the person to whom you will allocate your cryptocurrency will take the asset. You have to club the income for that asset under your name. In case if you have given the cryptocurrencies to the other person, given the asset to the other person at a lower than market price. So in case if you have transferred your asset at a lower than market price to any other person, in that case, the other person's income will be clubbed to your income and it will be taxed as per the rate, like 30% in this case.
Okay. And what if the price is higher? Say I
In case if you sold at a higher price, basically you have to sold at the, because cryptos things are regular, are monitored online only. So whatever the price you will get online, you have to sell at that price. And the differential if it is a profit, you have to pay taxes on 30%. And if it is a loss, then uh, you cannot adjust your loss from any of the income, any of other income. So initially only this 30% thing has come up in this budget, but by coming up with the time, maybe some provisions will come that your loss you can adjust with something. But as of now, you cannot adjust your loss. Whatever loss you have in your crypto thing, you cannot adjust your loss. Parallelly,
uh,
from other assets, you can adjust your losses. Like if you
uh-huh.
are buying shares, so in case of shares, if it is a long-term capital gain, then you can adjust the loss from long-term capital gain only, or from short-term capital gains. And in case of short-term capital gains, then you can adjust losses only with the short-term capital gains. So those provisions are already there in place. Maybe soon, when the entire budget thing will come up, certain provisions will come how you can uh, utilize your losses with the cryptocurrencies. But as of now, there is no provision where you can utilize your losses.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for this.
Okay, so sir, we have a question in chat box by Tushar Chandar. What are your views on government taxing the new startups that are NFT basis and have crypto model and they're still in building phase? Is there anything to promote startups to look towards in energy and military tech? So what are your views on this?
Regularly, government has always come up with certain benefits and schemes for the startups. This year also, they have, as I have mentioned in the PPT, that tax burden on the startups have been benefited. Earlier, it was 3 years tax holiday period. Tax holiday, I would say that for those particular period. So earlier it was 3 years, and now it has gone raised from 3 years to 4 years. So this benefit is obviously available with the startups. And talking about any energy sector or military sector, so as such, so there is nothing has been introduced in this particular budget for any benefit towards energy and military tech sector. But obviously, there are overall benefits available for the startups. And if talking about the crypto model also, as per the new budget or the existing prevailing benefits available for the startups, the tax holiday period is still same. 3 years they will enjoy the tax holiday period, or currently 4 years as introduced in this budget, and they have no need to pay taxes for those particular time. But still, I will say that startups income, I mean startup income, I mean for the activity, for the business which the startup is engaged, and not the investment startup will make going further. Like if you have opened a startup, you are working for a startup, for the business for which you are working, that income is fall under the preview of tax holiday period. But in case the startup is started investing in the equity shares or maybe in the cryptocurrencies, that would in any way be taxable.
All right. So, Tishar, I hope you got your answer. And so we have another question. It's by King Bhati. How much total amount is allotted to counter climate change?
Uh, Talking about the allocation to counter climate change, as I suggest that renewable energy nowadays is being emphasized more. So let's see if, as of now, though nothing has come up specifically mentioning about the climate change, as this budget was neutral, being a COVID situation, also that no major thing has come up. But in any way, country is looking forward for this renewable thing and this electric vehicle thing also. So let's see if anything will come up.
All right. So, sir, there's a lot of questions now. It's by Ananya Goswami. Income generated from NFT sale will be covered in which slab?
So basically, income from NFT sale will be covered under the newly introduced, where the government has mentioned the electronic form. The government has specifically mentioned that electronic form will be charged by at the rate of 30%. So in any way, whatever your income which falls, this income will fall under the income from other sources and will fall under that electronic form income and will be charged at 30% tax slab.
All right. So, Ananya Goswami, I hope you got your answer. Next question is from Stephen Sebastian. How income from YouTube and Insta referral links is counted in income tax, or it is exempted up to certain level?
Basically, saying about the income from YouTube, it always fall under how you are working. Either you are working as a professional YouTuber, or you are working as an employee for a some YouTube channel or something. So this is how your taxability will be decided. If you are a professional, then again your taxability will be decided as per your professional thing, like will be taxed under the head income from business or profession. So there are certain specified rates are there under Income Tax Act. This income from YouTube thing or Insta referrals links, this will be taxed as per how you as an individual will be uh, c- considered as a professional, as a business person, or as an employee.
Okay, sir. So last we have one more question here, and it's by Reed Consul. Why government is not legalizing the cryptocurrency? Government has the issue with Bitcoin particularly, or with the whole crypto market.
Well, that cannot be I would not say anything about it, like why the government is not legalizing the cryptocurrency, but in any way, they have covered the cryptocurrency under the ambit of income tax and charging the rate 30%. And also, countries in the process of introducing uh, their own digital money. So, so as to, you know, cope up with the other developed nations, developed countries also, government may be thinking to planning to introduce their own digital currency rather than adopting existing one of the other countries. So that may be one of the reason. But telling about the issues which government might have, so I will not say anything about that.
Okay, so thank you so much, sir, for taking all the questions. And
Yeah, thanks.
if thank, thank you, sir. And if you have any further questions, please you can mail us at our official email ID, that is eselgu@galgotiasuniversity.education.in. So, without gratitude is to be shown forthright, or one will most certainly forget to say thanks. So, with this, I, Paridi, having the greatest pleasure of presenting this vote of thanks and giving my sincere appreciation to one and all present here. Beginning with our honorable chief guest, Mr. Gaurav Bahmania, I thank you, sir, on behalf of our ESL and university management for taking the time of your day and being with us here. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Pradeep.
Thank you, sir. I extend my greatest thanks to our team leads, Dr. Gaurav Kumar, sir, Lokesh Varshani, sir, and Vinny Sharma, ma'am. Head of our ESL, Anjali Singh, Bhavya Varshani, Ishanchi Tyagi, and Ishan Rai, having planned and managed this session. Finally, we have our audiences who have been amazing throughout the event with their thoughtful questions and making this event as interactive as it has been. I thank you all for attending this session and being with us throughout. Now, as we come to an end of this astounding session, I would like to conclude by saying that there is no real end. It's just the place and time where you stop the story and as I see here, we all are present here for far from end of our story. So we keep working towards our goal. Stay safe, and there's no time for quitting. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.